Okay. Hi, guys. Wow. It has been a very long time. I honestly want to say that it's been 6 months since I've recorded anything, which just seems so insane to say. But I mean, it's almost October now. And this year, 2025, I mean, it's flown the fuck by because I started the year end of January going through a breakup, and the rest has just all kind of surrounded that. So we're going to talk about that. I feel like this is just my way to kind of like break the ice and get back into the swing of things. I haven't recorded a podcast. I haven't recorded anything on YouTube. I haven't even created any new courses since everything went down, just because I really haven't been in the place to. Honestly, I feel like this year it's been a lot of me keeping myself afloat. And because of that, it obviously was pretty much impossible for me to do much else. And I just knew that I needed to take this time to focus on myself and to not feel like I had to be put together or, have my shit together essentially on an energetic level. Sorry, there's sirens. On an energetic level or a spiritual level or with manifestation and mindset and all this. Like, I just needed to let myself breathe and take a break and focus on nothing but one day at a time. That was really my strategy this whole year. It's been one day at a time because that's all that I could do. All that I could do was take it one single day at a time. And now I guess I'll go through the timeline with you guys so that you guys can just understand how it's all been. But let's call it 6 months later. I am, and I feel like people say this all the time. I've probably said this in the past too, but truly I'm fucking better than ever. God, if I could just, it reminds me of that Lorde song. I was literally playing it this morning. I think it's called If She Could See Me Now. I just have chills even saying that. If me in January or me last year or me through all of this crazy shit that I've gone through could see me now. Am I already getting emotional? No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that right now. Although it's okay too. It's okay to be emotional. I just don't feel like doing it right now. But if I could see myself literally living in my dream apartment, I've never loved a home more than I love this one, surrounded by the best people, the most expansive friendships, best friends for life, being given the most princess treatment as fuck, loved like I didn't know that I could be, a fairy tale kind of situation, and just feeling so much more like myself, but this adult version of myself. I just wish that I could have seen this back then, although I did. I knew it. And you guys know with manifestation, that's a part of it, is being able to focus on that not yet proven bright future. And that's really what I did. That's what got me through everything, was knowing that on the other side of the pain that I was going through was this bright future that I couldn't even possibly imagine yet. But I could feel it. I could sense it. I knew that it was there. Because how the fuck else would it be? You know what I mean? Of course, when you let go of the unaligned things in your life, you make room for so many more aligned things to pour in. And when you move in alignment, the universe bursts open and just floods you with everything that you've ever asked for. That's what I'm experiencing right now. And I'm going to get into your guys' Q&A. I did a little Q&A submission on my Instagram stories. So I was originally going to sit down and try to tell you, I don't even know, try to just yap and talk about what's been going on. And then I was I want to know what you guys want to hear. So honestly, this might be broken into like multiple episodes because we've got a lot to talk about. Or like maybe we'll just, yap over the course of some months. I really want to be consistent with the podcast and with YouTube, and I finally feel like I can. And hopefully you guys will understand a little bit more about me and about my situation now and why it was so hard for me to in the past. Granted, of course, I do run 2 businesses, so I've always been a busy girl. But yeah, when you're in a really toxic situation and your household is chaotic and unstable, and then your job is to be this sort of like grounded anchor of high frequency energy for other people, it really does a number on you. I mean, it fucked my mind. Like it really did. And I'm still working through a lot of that. Ooh, I guess we're getting into the shit already. I guess we're getting into it. I'm still working through all of that. But what I can just say, and I guess like what I want to get off my chest, because it's just coming up right now, is like, I felt so torn for so many years doing this work that I do. It is everything to me because of everything that I've gone through in my life. Where I started and now all of this that I've been through too, like this work is so important. It's beyond manifesting, like the dream car and the dream house and the money and all of those like more materialistic things, which are great and awesome. And I love that. And I love that for you too. But it's so much further beyond that. It's actually living like a high quality life, really, and getting to enjoy life, being happy, being fulfilled, experiencing love and peace and everything that you desire. Like that is what it's all about. And for any of you guys that don't know, like my origin story, I've dealt with depression pretty much my whole life. As young as I can remember, I experienced depression, anxiety. I just had like a very darker, I guess, younger years of my life, which coming into this work and doing all the healing that I did from, let's say like 18 to maybe it was like 23, it helped me to reframe it to see like that I experienced all of that because of this, to be able to do the work that I do now, to help other women heal, to help other women manifest their dream lives, to rewire their minds, to regulate their nervous systems, to really heal and overcome their limitations and their patterns and their programming to be all that they want to be, to expand beyond what's ever even been modeled to them before. I was able to reframe my entire upbringing and childhood into my purpose and into the work that I do now, and seeing that all led me here. And I think that I would get caught up in this thought that I needed to be perfectly healed in all ways. And there were still parts of me that needed healing. And those are the parts that I've been really working on lately, that I've been forced to heal this year with the breakup. But over the last however many years, I guess like let's say 4 years that I've run my business, that I've been a manifestation coach, that I've been teaching courses, that I've run my jewelry brand as well, I've really experienced this duality of being really dedicated and devoted to having my frequency on point, to being in tip-top shape with my mindset, and at the same time, honestly living through like a really crazy situation and a lot of chaos and instability and these things that I still 6 months later realize aren't normal, but that I guess had kind of become my normal. But it took a huge toll on my mental health, on my well-being, and then at the same time striving to have like my energy up here and my mindset up here because of the work that I do and who I want to be able to show up as for you guys. Like I think, and you can probably tell by like hearing me talk about this, it's still hard for me to even like come to terms or understand like what the fuck that all did to me. And let me just make it clear, in no way am I like bashing or upset at all about what I do for work, because that is genuinely what saved my life. I don't know, and I said this multiple times, how I would have gotten out of the situation that I was in if I didn't have the knowledge and wisdom that I do from the work that I do. And that was so apparent to me over and over throughout these last 6 months, which has just driven me into my purpose even deeper of like, this work is so important. And I need to be speaking. I need to be sharing. I need to be sharing my story. I need to be real as fuck. This is all hard for me to talk about, but this is what got me through all of that. Is I knew if I can get through this, I can help so many other women who are in a similar situation. And even just a parallel situation. Like, you can see, for me, I had done this work for so long, right? Like, in the scheme of things, I guess it hadn't been that long. But so much healing on myself, so much rewiring, so much reprogramming, so even huge quantum leaps in my life, scaling my identity, up leveling, manifesting money and success in my dream businesses and levels of my dream life. But then there were still, what I can see now, hindsight being 2020, patterns and just unaligned to the caliber at what I want to live at. Things happening in my life that I was still accepting, still entertaining, and still essentially like settling with because of limiting beliefs and things within me that I just wouldn't let go. And maybe that's because a part of me didn't fully believe. It's hard. It's really, really hard. You can see that I'm still working through this. But I just wanted to break the ice, and I wanted to get back to talking to you guys. It's not that I didn't believe that there was always better for me. I always had the belief. It really was the letting go that was the scariest thing. That's why I made the trust frequency. As you guys know, I literally made it for me to help me during all that I was going through, because I couldn't guide myself the way that I typically do through my own meditations, my own hypnosis and rewiring and visualizations. Because of the background that I have, I guide myself through those sort of things all the time. But I was just so at my end, so at a rock bottom, that I couldn't access like that higher version of myself. I really could not access. That is when it got scary. That is really when it got scary for me, is when I could no longer like get in touch with that part of my mind, the part of me that comes to you guys or teaches my courses, or I couldn't get there because I was just so torn down, so drained. I was falling apart. I made the trust frequency to be able to plug into for myself when I couldn't get into that energy to guide myself. So yeah, it was the letting go. That was the hardest part for me. There's so many layers to it, and there's so much that we can talk about, and I'm sure that we will over the coming months. And like I said, I'm ready to be consistent. My life is very supportive of that now. So I guess I want to say I'm back, but I've probably said that so many times before. I feel like my word has lost its value, but I think I'm back. I want the podcast to be like this. Like I really want it to just kind of be more yappy. There will obviously be lessons and things too, but that might be more for YouTube, which I might post this on YouTube too. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do yet. Okay. Right now I'm just sitting down and filming this. Anyways, I feel like we should get into the questions. I have no idea how long I've been filming at this point, but there's so much to say. There's just so much to say. And this is just going to be the first video that like breaks the ice. We'll chat more. Okay, let me see. I'm genuinely reading these questions as I record, so we're really going off the dome with this one. Ooh, okay, the first question submitted, and I like this. How do you accept the grief of the life you thought you'd have with the person? This was one of the biggest things that I moved through. One of the most difficult things was the grief. Also, you guys, I have really just had to move forward a lot. over the last 6 months. And so much was so traumatic for me that, and because of the background that I have in trauma healing and processing and the way that our subconscious mind defends us, honestly, I know that your subconscious will kind of protect you from things that it's not ready to go into yet, and it will bring it up when it's time. I've leaned heavily into a lot of somatic healing practices because it's been like my mind can't access, and this is very common with trauma, but my mind like can't access things. So I've done very little reviewing of the past, and I'm kind of sitting down with you guys now, a little bit doing it for the first time. I mean, I've done a little. Like I said, I've done a lot of somatic processing. I obviously was doing a ton of just like journaling and talking to myself and processing throughout everything. But then when I was out of like the thick of it, I really just focused on like being happy and moving forward. And that's like what the last few months have been for me. So this is me now finally coming back to like sit in the darkness again from now have founding happiness. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to sit and talk about all this shit when I was still in the shit. I'm out of it now. And so now I'm able to look back and reflect. But yeah, just letting you know, this isn't like a lot of stuff that I've thought back to a lot because I was really just focused on moving on and being happy. So, okay, let's talk about it. The grief was the hardest thing. Like I said, it was the letting go. How I really dealt with the grief of the life that I thought that I'd have with that person was, one, knowing that life, the positive things of that life, I would still have, you know? Like, in that in itself is sad. That in itself was really sad to me at the time. Like, knowing that, like, I would still have children. I'd still get married. Just it wouldn't be with that person. This is when I remember needing to take it one day at a time, because thinking like that actually made me spiral. I'm remembering now, thinking too much about the future. Like, even if it was positive, right? Like, oh, but I'll find the love of my life. Like, I couldn't think about that. I couldn't. And I'm actually so thankful that I went through this, because I think like my answers to these questions, had I not gone through this myself, would probably be very different than they are. But what I actually had to do, like I said, was take it one day at a time. Know in my heart, right? Like, I would still have a beautiful life, and it would also be free of the negative aspects of my past situation and my past relationship. Dealing with the grief of it all really for me was a lot of, like I mentioned, somatic processing, a lot of just movement, shaking, jumping, stretching, working out a lot, and working out in flow, tapping into the resources, like I mentioned, trust frequency, overflow codes, journaling when I felt that I wanted to. I honestly didn't journal that much. I did a lot of voice noting. Yeah, it was really hard for me to like do my regular things, like to journal, to meditate. So that's really where I relied on like the tools, like I mentioned, trust frequency, overflow codes, tools from Align and Attract, tools from Scale, and just like this work that I had done previously for myself, but also for my students, like in Align and Attract specifically, that was now carrying me a future version of myself. It was just a crazy thing to see something that like me 3 years ago had made being what was like holding me 3 years in the future together and getting me through it all. A lot of dealing with the grief was just feeling the emotions. You never want to suppress your emotions. Like I said, your subconscious mind is so wise, so it will know what to suppress and what it needs to release and let out. So if you are feeling that you need to release and let things out, And the avenue that you're feeling called to is journaling or movement or crying or screaming or singing or whatever you're feeling that energy needs to move through, do it. Don't hold back. Do not suppress. And know that because it's coming up, whatever emotion you're feeling, if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling sadness, whatever's coming up, it's coming up because it needs to be released. You've probably heard the term before, like emotion is energy in motion. So the energy just needs to move. So letting it move, I think, is really how I was able to move through the grief of it all. I want to say so quickly, but again, it has been 6 months, but it's honestly felt like it's gone so fast. I've really let myself feel, I've let myself go through every phase of the grief, and I've just sat with it. I've been in it. I haven't tried to escape any of it. I did, like I mentioned, start to focus on being happy and feeling better and not sulking and being alone and being in my feelings by myself. I really opened myself to friendships, to being around people who uplifted me and getting my mind off of the breakup and the perceived loss and opening myself to all that I was gaining. This new freedom, this new intimacy and relationship with myself, being alone with myself. I fell so deeply in love with that. So, in all, it's allowing yourself to feel everything. And then at the same time, having like a focus on all the good that will come in the future. But if you can't get there yet, like how I was in the beginning, I could only do one a day at a time. Just all the good that is in your life now. And keeping a lot of your attention and your focus there while also allowing yourself to feel anything that you need to feel. Things to do to anchor in the self again after a breakup. Time alone is huge. I've really, really enjoyed having my time alone, creating a life for yourself that is separate from that person. I know in my case, I was in my relationship for 6 years. And so our entire lives were intertwined. And it was like losing your identity because in ways he was everything. He was my entire life. And everything in my life is tied to him in some way. And so a huge part of centering back into myself was creating my life, creating Brooke's life, my routines, the things that I do, making it mine, not ours. And creating just little rituals and things that became how I lived my life. I also moved during the breakup, which was really great because I got to have like a fresh environment around me. And I think that helped a lot. Getting to just create my own routines in this environment, make this environment my own, right? Like no one else has lived in this apartment with me. It's mine. Everything you can see, it's very girly, right? It's like my pussy palace. It's a girl's cave. Okay. That really helped me to kind of form my new identity of self, just creating things that like this person wasn't around for, building this new home, building my new workout routine, my daily routine, creating new friendships. All of my new friends have never met my ex. I met them after. So having like this whole group of people in my life who only know me, only know Brooke, as a single Brooke. They met me as single Brooke. That has really helped. I think getting back into touch with who you want to be is huge. And that was a huge part for me because in a lot of ways, I lost touch with who I wanted to be and who my soul was pulling me to be, who I was becoming when I started my businesses, when I was making my courses. And then really over the last 2 years, it got very dark in my relationship. And that obviously bled into everything else in my life too. And it might have been more than 2 years. tea and background is my relationship was never healthy. And I don't want to go too into things, but maybe this is like something we'll talk about in the future, but my relationship was never healthy. It's hard for me to talk about this stuff because I don't want to talk poorly about somebody or implicate somebody in anything at all. Like, I'm so at a loss of like what I can share and what I can talk about now because I never want to like drag somebody. I never want to, but then at the same time, I'm like, I know that there's other girls who are in a situation that I was in. And like, how do I help them? Like, how do I prevent girls from kind of being in the same thing that I was and knowing like, hey, that's not normal. Because that was like one of the biggest things for me as well, getting out of the relationship was talking to people and people being like, hey, that's not normal. Like, that's not how a relationship has to be. I think when it comes to anchoring into yourself, sorry, I got off topic. Getting into touch again with who you want to be in the infinite possibilities was really, really great for me, actually. So expansive and so beautiful and a huge factor in everything that's manifesting in my life now. And when I was ready to go beyond just taking it day by day, and that lasted quite a while, just one day at a time. What do I have to do today? Focus on that. Do that. Like, that lasted a while, okay? I'm just letting you know. But then being able to, even at that time, here and there, dream. When I felt like I could kind of look into the future, I wanted to like expand my mind a little bit more. Scripting out or visualizing or just kind of daydreaming about like what my life could be now. Like what possibilities open for me now. Kind of on the same note of like grieving the life that you were going to have with that person. It's like I saw our life and what it was going to be. And now that's gone, which in one hand is so sad. But then on the other hand, it's like anything else could happen now. Like now there's not like this, right? It's like it could be anything. So that infinite possibilities was really like uplifting for me. Like it really helped to pull me out of the darkness to just kind of like focus on that glimmer of like what could be now, the infinite possibilities, and reawakening my big dreams that I had had that in ways I feel like were dimmed or set to the side for so many reasons. Again, it was like basically impossible for me to even make those dreams happen because of like the state that I was in all the time, the chaos and the emotional turmoil that was my household. And yeah, you guys, at the end, it just got so dark because I just committed. Like I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be with this person. My parents never got a divorce, and not that I wasn't married, but I felt married. So I was just like, this is like, I've got to stay in this, you know? Which by the way, you never have to stay in anything, even if you are married, you don't have to do that. Sorry, I keep getting off topic, but yeah, focusing on like the infinite possibilities of what my life could be. And then coming back to those big dreams that I could have, or even setting new big dreams. And remembering who I really wanted to be, who my soul called me into being, and what I truly deeply desired, because there were so many desires that I had put out. And it's crazy for me to admit that. My ego as a manifestation teacher takes a major fucking hit because, I mean, I preach that. I preach to you guys like, your desires are your soul's guidance, and to always tune in and listen to your desires and follow them. I believe that 1000%, yet still, and what I'm still trying to figure out is how knowingly or unknowingly was it that I dimmed those dreams and desires. Some of them I knowingly even like convinced myself that I didn't really want. But as I say that, I knew, like I knew that I wanted it. I knew what I wanted. And I guess maybe you could call that settling. So I think in some ways, like, I had settled in what my circumstance was. There's so many things to it. And I'm just so excited to, like, be on the other side of this and be able to, again, have this experience to help you guys from. Because I never would have this perspective or this, like, layered understanding if I hadn't moved through this myself. So it's only making me a better teacher, a better coach. And I'm just excited for more that I uncover and learn from this so that I can help other people. Like, I'm genuinely a nerd for this kind of shit. And so it's very fascinating to me to, like, see how my mind was tricking me back then and to look back at that. Anyways, to round out your question, anchoring back into the self, spending a lot of time alone, reconnecting to who you deeply desire to be, what your actual soul desires are, and really dating yourself. That was a really fun thing for me. It's just like, again, spending so much time alone, exploring my mind, creating rituals in my home, creating routines and things for me, creating a new life that was my life, separate from my partner. I had been with my partner since I was 21. And so that was my whole adult life. I had not had an adult life without this person being very, very tied to me and everything that I did. So there was a lot of just getting to know myself again and what that meant, who I was and what my life looked like without that person. And while at the start, it's a very sad experience, it becomes such a expansive and, like, awakening experience. You're meeting yourself at a new level. You're meeting a new version of yourself that you've never gotten to meet before. And it's really, really beautiful. And I think you just fall in love with yourself so much deeper because, as I shared with you guys, I kind of went through, like, my big spiritual awakening while in that relationship. I stopped being a fucking party girl, drug addict, like, train wreck in that relationship. I got diagnosed with my autoimmune disease in that relationship, like, started my businesses in that relationship. So I haven't known myself as this person who has been diagnosed and now is in remission, has healed, in the process of healing, an autoimmune disease, started 2 successful businesses, made over 7 figures, healed from an eating disorder, has helped thousands of women manifest their dream lives, has had my own spiritual awakenings and quantum leaps. I never knew that girl without the partner tied to her. So getting to know me as that woman who's done all of that now solo, there's no words for it. Like, I know everybody's experience is different when you go through a breakup, but I'm just so much more me. I'm so much more me again. And so when reconnecting to yourself, it's just like, just fucking being you. Just being you and giving yourself the space to be you, I think is really, as like that, it sounds so fucking simple, but that really is it. Because probably all these experiences and things that you've had, like, that person has been tied to them, you know? So it's creating new experiences, new memories. That's actually something my friends told me for a very long time. I'd say until, like, the last month, or yeah, probably like the last month. Every single story I'd tell had to do with my ex. It was like, oh, I went here one time with my ex. Oh, one time my ex said this to me. Like, everything had to do with my ex because my whole life was around my ex. And luckily I had really, really supportive friends who just let me tell these stories. And I remember one of them told me one day, shout out Jimmy, we will create new memories and new stories with you where eventually all your stories won't be tied to your ex. You'll have them with us. And that's genuinely what started to happen. So just starting to make new memories with yourself, new memories with friends, new memories in new places or old places even that you guys used to go together, just creating new memories and a new life without that person. You just have to live it. You just have to live it. And with time, that new life gets created. I wish I had a more profound answer for you, but that's really it. Your opinion on decentering men. I answered this a little bit in a TikTok that I filmed while I was getting ready. But this has been a huge thing on my mind going into being single now and dating. I realized how much authority I had given over in my past relationship while I was, not just the breadwinner, but literally the person who made all the money, who ran the businesses. Like, while I was in that position, so you could say like I was independent, I also had like a very dependent relationship going on. I honestly became the girl that I never thought that I would become. Like I lost friendships. I was never seeing people. I was never even texting people back. I'm being so careful not to like talk bad about my ex. But yeah, let's just say like he didn't like me hanging out with friends or like being on my phone. So I lost touch with a lot of people, and it was just basically like him. It was like my work and him. And that was my life. So in my life, I had really created my life around a man. And that was something that when I got out of it, I just was like, I can never let that happen again. And the hard thing with that is that I love so hard and I love so committedly and I'm so loyal and I fall very deeply and hard in love where that person does become my life and becomes my family. And I want to make that person happy. And I've had to be very, very cautious as I'm now single, as I'm now dating, that I don't want to do that again. So my opinions on decentering men, it needs to be done. I even see like when me and my friends even now like get together and we just talk about like boys or, we're gossiping about like the guys we're talking to or whatever. I'll even have to like catch ourselves then and be like, there's so much else for us to talk about. And like, we are the main characters. And I think the people that I surround myself with now, like truly I surround myself with women now who like fully live by that. Like we're the motherfucking main characters. Like they're the side plot with all due respect and love to the men. And I even find myself attracting men into my life who like hold that same kind of mindset. Not that they're like, I'm the side character to your life, but they really, there's no like sacrifice that they're asking for from me to give them more. It's like whatever I need to work on my work. I need to work on my business. I'm supported to work. I want to hang out with my friends, supported to hang out with my friends. It's completely night and day of what I'm used to. I was raised in a household where my mom always told me, it's one of the like number one things that I remember from growing up. Never rely on a man, specifically financially, because if there was ever a situation where you needed out, you got to make sure that you can get out. And that stuck with me so hard that's why I built my own businesses and why I've always been committed to making my own money and why I always still will. No matter who the fuck I end up being with, even if he's a fucking billionaire, I will always make sure I'm good. I will always make sure I'm protected, I'm taken care of. I will always have my own thing going on because this is my life, and there's so much life to live. There's so many things to explore. There's so many interests to dive into and passions to have. Life is just so rich to just focus it on one person or one thing is just kind of a waste, And that's not to say that we can't be madly, deeply in love. And even if I was just listening to a podcast with Elena Cardone on it, and she was talking about how, by the way, like whatever your guys' thoughts are on them, I'm not going to go into it. I think that they have like some weird takes for sure. But she did say, and I really like this, like in her marriage, she is like in a supportive role, but the support is the beam, right? It has to be stronger than the thing it's supporting. So even if that is the role that you take on in your relationship, you're still not making your entire life about that man or the men that you're dating, right? Like you have things outside of that. You have friendships, you're making connections, you have hobbies, you have things that are you. I think forming your own, and it kind of goes into the last question that someone else asked about like refining your identity after a breakup. Having your own identity is so important. Like knowing who you are, what you like. Do you know what you like? You know, if you're coming out of a breakup or even now, just in whether you're in a relationship or not, really start to explore like, what do I like? I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, and you know, it's so easy to think that the way that your life is and the way that your brain works like everybody else's does. I find over and over again, like a lot of people don't take the time to explore like what they like. What are they interested in? What kind of like turns them on? What like lights a spark inside of them? So I think that, I mean, I know that is such an important thing to add richness to your life, to have this sort of sense of self separate from anybody else that's in your life that could honestly come and go at any time. Yeah, like, fuck yeah, make yourself the main character. And everybody should. If we all make ourselves the main character while having compassion and empathy in our hearts and being able to also see the world as we are all each our own mini gods, we're all our main characters. So you have this respect for everybody else as also their own main character. I think that's really how we all thrive and live our best lives. Because if we're doing what's best for us, right, and it's not hurting anybody, what's best for us and the greatest is always going to be the greatest and highest good of all. Did I say that right? Basically, what I'm trying to say is if you're truly doing what's best for you in a soul-aligned way, right, it's not going to hurt anybody. And it's going to be for the greatest and highest good of all. Even if that means leaving a relationship or breaking somebody's heart, right? I don't mean not hurting somebody in that way. Sometimes people's feelings are hurt in our path to our alignment and what's best for us. But in the end, it will be the best for everybody's soul path. So the best thing that you can ever do for humanity is continue to work on yourself, continue to grow, and continue to do what is in deepest alignment with your soul and what's best for you. Totally off topic. I don't even remember what the question said, but we just had to yap on that for a second. Oh, it was on decentering men. Yeah, be the main character. Oh my God, we have so many good ones to answer. So little time. Okay, I guess I'll answer this because I got asked it so many times, but I wasn't going to answer it, but I will. I got asked many times, like, what was the final straw or what made me know for certain that it was right to end the relationship. So I guess I'll just give a little bit of context here. We honestly were on and off for years. And what I mean by that is like crazy, terrible, hardcore, earth-shattering breakups, and then even getting back together like the next day. But that happened a lot. So it was a lot. As I'm sure you can imagine. Like that's just like hard. I don't know how I lived like that for so long. But at the end of January, we had a really big breakup, one of those sort of fights. And I hit this crazy rock bottom where I actually scared myself, feeling like I felt like I didn't know. And I hadn't felt this way in years, since all of my healing, since my awakening. I felt like I didn't want to live my life anymore. And that was very scary. That was like a huge, like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? Like knowing everything I know, what a gift life is, how magical life is. To feel like if this is what my life is, I don't know if I want to live it. I knew there was no going back and I had to get out, or it was going to end very, very bad. And I told my parents, I contacted my family and was like, this is how I'm feeling. I need help. Like I need help getting out of this. And I had told people that before. I think sometimes you're ready and sometimes you're not. And like, I truly believe in divine timing. And I knew that I needed out of this for a very, very, very long time. I have videos on my phone from me from 2022, 2023, crying, begging myself to get out of it, begging myself to find the strength to get out of it. But yeah, that was just the fucking rock bottom, was feeling like, and the reason why I felt that way and I hadn't before is because before I always kind of was like, well, maybe we'll break up. Like maybe we won't be together. But at this point, this year, I had decided like, this is just who I'm going to be with. Like I just decided this is it, because I committed and I'm loyal, and I was like, well, this is marriage and this is life, and like life is hard sometimes. So because I had made, and this just goes to show the power of your commitment and your decision, because I had made that decision, it was like my brain blocked off the potential of like anything else. Like I no longer was like, maybe one day I'll get out. Maybe one day I'll date somebody else. It was just like, this is my life. And with that being my life, like I didn't want that life. And that was just my rock bottom. That was, I needed to get out of it. From there, I continued to kind of want to go back and forth and have like the hope of like, maybe things can change. And so I tried all of that while also, again, fucking plug for trust frequency, making all of those audios and plugging into them every single day. So I was expanding my level of possibility and seeing more options, a brighter future for myself. And when I say more options, it wasn't even like, oh, I'll marry somebody else and I'll have like this life. It was just like opening myself to the frequency of infinite possibilities, and also surrendering into the universe and trusting the universe. And from there, I was just shown sign after sign, like my intuition, my connectedness to my spirituality was higher than it had been in a very, very, very long time. And I was just honestly like on my hands and knees daily, just asking to be led, asking to be guided. And I was constantly being shown the next steps to take. And the thing that I fucking did is I took them. Even when it was so scary, even when it was hard, even when it didn't make logical sense to take them, because I was shown them and because I knew in my intuition, this is my sign, this is my guidance. I took the steps. So over the next, from like February, March, April, and then I moved in end of May into my own apartment. But during those months, there was like a little bit of back and forth of like, maybe we can fix this and we'll work on ourselves. And as you guys may have seen in like some of my content from that time, like beginning of June, when I like announced like we're taking space, I was still kind of in that mindset of like, maybe we'll fix things. But there was also a part of me that had already been like, I need out. I know that I need out. And it was like my higher mind, like almost my spirit self was like locked into that. But then my human self was like still holding on and still kind of clinging to not wanting to let go. But again, I just continued to anchor into my audios. I swear by the trust frequency, you guys, it saved me so many times. Until it just kind of became the way that my mind and energy functions now. Like I don't plug into the trust frequency and overflow codes as much as I did during that time. I was always plugged in during that time, but now it's just like, it's anchored in, right? It's rewiring audios for a reason. It has rewired into my baseline of just how I am and how I move. Oh, I was just trying to give you guys the timeline. But the space alone, if you are in a situation where you're like, I think this might be unhealthy, or I know this is unhealthy, but I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to break this. You gotta get alone. You've got to get alone, baby girl. Like the best decision that I think I have ever made in my entire life was moving into my own apartment. Period. Best decision I have ever made in my entire life. Getting alone and then getting the space. And you guys know my ex went to a different country for a few months. and I lived here alone in my own apartment. So we couldn't even see each other, even if we wanted to. And we were on completely different time zones. So I had so much time alone, so much time in my own space with myself. And I was able to notice a stark difference in how I felt. I was just more me. I was less on edge. Even though there was like heartbreak and all these feelings and all these emotions to process and trauma, I was just like clearer. I just felt more me. And that was just another huge like, okay, what you had normalized is not normal. And that's not in your highest alignment. Yes, it's hard to be alone. Yes, it's 10 times the work, but this is better. And it was made so clear for me. There were then things that happened after having that space that I was able to look at that interaction with my ex from a new perspective. And during this time, I also made many lists of what I wanted my future husband to be like, lists of what I needed in a relationship, lists of what I wanted in a relationship. And at this time, I was still hopeful it could be him, you know? But then when we would have these interactions, those lists would come into mind and I'd be like, this isn't it. This isn't what I wrote down that I needed. And, you know, how much longer am I going to do this? There was another moment the day I moved out of my house and I was gathering my old journals and one fell on the fucking floor. And I opened it to a random page and it was from 2019 and it was as if I wrote it that day. All the same issues that I experienced to the very end of my relationship. The issues never changed over 6 years. I could open any of my journals and it was like just the same thing over and over and over again. I was going to say my mistake was staying in it for too long, but I truly just believe like everything happens for a reason. I really, really do. And like, who the fuck knows like what life could have been if I got out of it 6 months in or a year in and I wasn't in this relationship for all of my 20s and for 6 years. Like, but I don't think that's what was meant to happen. You know, what was meant to happen is what happened. And now I have this experience and I'm able to help other women who, I mean, you get so caught up in it and it becomes your entire life and like you can't see a way out. And I've said this many times to people, it's like, it wasn't all bad, you know? And that's the hardest part is like, it was the lowest lows, but there were also very high highs. There was love there, you know? I wouldn't have been in it if there wasn't love. This person was like my best fucking friend. In so many ways, we had so many things in common. Like we like the same music. Like we're in, honestly, looking back now, we had like a friendship and we were great at being friends more than we were compatible as romantic partners because like our values are very different. And ultimately like what we want in life and how we want our partner to be does not line up. And so there was always like a lot of issues with that. But yeah, that was the universe was just pushing me to get out. Those were all my final straws. I mean, it's pretty hard to go back from being like at that low of a place and then everything just lined up. Like I said, the universe just showing me where I live now, guiding me to live here. And let me know if you guys want a story time on all of that and all of the crazy synchronicities and things that have happened because I will write it all down. I'll go through like the full step by step of like how everything unfolded because like God was there. Like the universe led me through it all. I will gladly do that. But the relationship, like I would say like officially ended like in July. Again, after just like I was able to have that clarity and then see our interactions from this newer perspective where because there was the space and the separation, I was able to see like, this is not healthy. This is not normal. This is not what I have to live with. This is not what I want. And then that made ending it completely, fully hardcore, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? Officially, right? Not me using hardcore for officially, like girl, get a dictionary, but officially ending it, having the space made officially ending it a lot easier as well. Because it wasn't like such a stark change. It was the taking the space in June, or it was more like the official blow up breakup in February roller coaster trying to work on things, but also it being really, really bad until June. June, moving out on my own, him going away. And then there was like a month of us like talking and wanting to work on things, but then just really clearly seeing, things start to kind of like show up again after a month of having some space. And then it made it easy to officially kind of like cut things off and be like, okay, this isn't going to work. So yes, that is kind of how it all happens. I think that's what I'll leave it at today, because I feel like we've yapped for quite some time, but I'm also like just breaking the ice with this, like I haven't talked on the podcast in so long. I haven't recorded or filmed anything in so long other than like TikToks and stuff. So like this all feels very new to me. I like this setup because I can't see myself in the camera. So I just feel like I'm like talking to the window and I like that. I want to get back to this. Let me know if you guys like this format, just more kind of like chill, relax. I could do a podcast episode every week if I did it like this. I try to make everything like so super rich in value for you guys that sometimes it overwhelms me to have to sit down and record something. But if I just yapped like off the dome in a more, I guess like almost like friend to friend way, easy. I could do that every week. And then maybe for YouTube, we have it more of like a outline and constructed and, or some sort of mix. But all I'm saying is like yapping on the pod, I can do, I think. Hopefully you like it. I don't know. I'm just getting used to this again, and I'll get used to it eventually. We are back. I'm back to recording courses again too, which I'm super excited for. Like that's where I belong. That's what I'm meant to be doing. So there's going to be a lot coming out soon. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but I am opening Align and Attract again. I think that it's going to be out on early bird pricing when this video goes up. So I will link that down below for you. You've probably already gotten information about that to your email or seen it on my Instagram and TikTok and the whole thing. But just a little reminder here. All of that will be linked down below for you guys. Trust frequency, overflow codes as well. Everything you need. My Arcanum LA jewelry. All of it. I'm clearly so rusty, but thank you for being here. It means the world. Thank you for being patient with me through all of this. I cannot believe it's been 6 months. Like, okay, I'm going to have to cope with that somehow. Like, part of me is like, no, 6 months wasted, but also hasn't been wasted. So much wisdom learned, and we're back and we're better. So with that, I'm sending you so much love and so much good fucking energy. I will see you next time, and I promise it won't be 6 months from now. Promise. I love you. Bye.